Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Infinite Abilities Podcast. I am your host, Nick Yerhart, and we are here to encourage each other to find our own unique abilities. Let's go. All right, everyone. So today we have Jake, and I've been following this guy for a while, and he's just an incredible businessman, and he's done a lot of stuff. So, without further ado, Jake, can you tell the audience a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, thanks, Nick. And I same is true. Like I followed Nick for a good long time. We've had a good couple conversations. Such an inspirational dude. Like just absolutely love Nick to death. So
Thank you.
you're going to be the first show. I have a new announcement on how to announce myself as of very recently. You get the exclusive scoop on this one. My new official title is Dr. Jacob Clendenning. I managed to complete my doctorate of business administration. Doesn't mean I get to do anything really super cool or anything, but it is a really cool title, and it's validation for a lot of the things that I've worked on over the last decade, just to build myself, much in the way that you do as well. So that's the new title. But what I do is I'm a strategic advisor. I'm a head coach. I'm an executive coach. I'm a mindset coach. I'm an NLP guy, neurolinguistics programming. And really what it is that I do is I make sure that my clients and the people that I work with are really connecting to themselves so that they can absolutely decide to do anything in the world that they want to do because they just made the choice to do it. And that's, one of the reasons that you've been such an inspiration to everything that we do as well is because you're who you are. You just said, yeah, this is what I do, and I do everything I want to do when I want to do it. And that is incredibly challenging for normal, everyday people to just decide to make that decision and just do amazing things with what they have available to them. So that's the ballpark of what I do. I've always introduced myself as a professional small boy, is the other piece, and that's part of the. I still play in the dirt. I still go out and I do things, that are fun and are just full of joy, and that's why I do it. That's what I want to do. I don't ever want to be, a little old man. That's not my goal in life. My goal is to be a professional small boy and always wonder and always have that sense of wonder.
Yep, exactly. That's really cool. And that resonates with me a lot because you help people a lot with not just business but themselves, mindset. Because business owners, we tend to hold ourselves back by our thoughts. And it's like once you can break free and look at the possibilities of what's out there, you can really go to that next level.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100% true, man. You use the word break free, and it's so incredibly true. Of we create these fake bonds, these fake chains, these fake cages that we put ourselves in, these fake limitations, and it is a challenge to break free. I don't remember the book I read it in. It'll come to me at some point because I read a lot of books, but they were talking about how Barnum and Bailey Circus used to train elephants, and it's come up in a bunch of different ways. And so they get an elephant as a baby, and they basically tie him. They tie a rope around his foot, and they tie him to a post that he cannot move. And it's buried in the ground. He couldn't move it if he wanted to. And over time, they can actually get to the point to where a full-sized elephant, which a full-sized elephant is a powerful, powerful animal, comes right down to it. They can simply put the rope around their foot and the elephant will stand there thinking they cannot get away, that they cannot move because they have been trained that is their limitation. That no matter how hard they pull on that rope, they can't get away from it. And that's a limiting belief from the elephant's perspective. There's no, the elephant could take over the circus in a heartbeat if he wanted to, if he just believed that's what he could do. And I use that reference for us as human beings too. We'll take on these little limiting belief labels and we will
Mm-hmm.
assume that they are true. And then you have to break free from them, much like Nick just
Yep.
talked
Yep.
about. But that's a lie. That's a lie, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's a limiting belief in our brain that we have to decide, yeah, that's not true. Now, okay, gravity. Gravity's a law. We get that. Gravity is a
Oh
law.
yeah.
You're not just going to break free from gravity. That's not going to happen. But there are limiting beliefs, and I firmly believe, from being an NLP guy, that every single person has the resources that every other person on the planet has. You have access to everything you want to have access to do anything that you could possibly want to do with that. It's your choice. It's your decision
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
whether you reach out for that or not.
I agree with that 100%. And you remind me of my own life. Growing up. At the age of 1, I got diagnosed with cerebral palsy. So I got a label stuck on me at 1 years old. And thankfully, my parents didn't allow me to have the limiting beliefs instilled in me by the doctors and professionals because they all said that I would never walk. They said that I might not talk. They said that I would be dependent on somebody else my whole life. Well, I started walking at age 5. I was already talking at like age 3, and I lived on my own since I was 21, so what, 12 years now. And it's just like, don't allow others to tell you what you can and cannot do. Like, that's so important.
It's critical, Nick, and you're 100%. And I'm kind of laughing to myself because I'm like, there's no way you're 33. You're like 24. Like you look
Everybody
at
says
Nick, and
that.
he is just like fresh out of the box. He just looks that way. So I mean, you do. You look like you're in your early 20s, man. And I know you behave that way too. Like we had a conversation the one day. You're on Zoom driving your truck, flying down some backcountry road, just having your normal day. Like, and I
Yeah.
love that about you. And you're 100% right, man. We allow we allow others to put limitations on us. And I wrote that in my first book. Rings of Impact was the first book that I wrote, and I talked about. And obviously, it's different from what your perspective was, but it's still a label. It's still a limiting belief. My third
Mm-hmm.
grade teacher, Mrs. Green, God bless her and God rest her. She told my parents and me in presence at a school conference I'd never amount to anything. I'd probably end up in jail or worse. I was disruptive. I was dysfunctional. I was way too much high energy. And she wasn't wrong. I was super disruptive. I was feral in her class. I'm going to own some of that. I was a rugged little boy. And
Mm-hmm.
I took that label. I wore that label for 25 plus years. 25 plus
Wow.
years. I believed that I would never amount to anything. And
Mm-hmm.
I've been very fortunate in my life to have some incredible role models and mentors. Nick had his parents that started right out with him and said, we're not going to let you believe that you can't do anything you want to do based on that. You're not your diagnosis. We know that that's true.
Exactly.
And yeah, and it took me 25 years before somebody else had to tell me that the first label was a lie. I
Mm-hmm.
couldn't validate it for myself. Somebody else had to tell me that. And throughout the last, I'm 51 years old now, and it's taken a lot of time to get there. But very recently, as I opened that up, I'm a doctor of business administration now. So like
Mm-hmm.
where a teacher in third grade said I'd never amount to anything. I heard that, I owned it for a long time, and I didn't. This doctorate thing isn't a neener Mrs. Green. Look what I did. I'm proving you wrong. It is literally I'm not that. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
that person that I thought I was, that somebody thought I was in that moment. And it was a decision. And much like the person that put the original label on me, someone else that I trusted, that was a trusted mentor and advisor to me, told me that that was a lie, and I had to believe them. So I mean, in one of these spots, and this is what, if I was going to share one thing with the audience today that I would love for you guys to take away, if you've never heard or learned or anything else from me, it is this: sometimes it is okay to ask for external validation. Sometimes we need the role model. Sometimes we need the mentor. Sometimes we need them to say, you know what, you're more than that. And I am very fortunate to have this one particular mentor. I was actually just talking to her on the phone a little while ago. One day she said, you know what, Jake, you are settling for good when great's on the table. It's the same reach. And that was a turning point in my life. So this is where I will tell your audience today. And if you can take anything from inspiration from watching Nick and what he does, and you can hear one thing: there's no reason for you to settle for good when great is on the table. That's your choice, but don't do it. That's what I would absolutely tell your audience today.
I love that so much, and I love that you brought up, you gotta look for that external validation. And for me,
Sometimes.
I get a lot of that from my coaches and my mentors. Like for instance, since I was 15 years old, I've worked in the garbage industry, waste removal. And since I was 21, I had been driving a garbage truck. That's what I did for a living. I worked for my dad's company. We sold that company. Long story short, I thought that because of my disability, I couldn't do anything else besides a job that would require driving. Because my physical abilities are limited. I will say that. So I get exhausted, a lot quicker than normal. But so I thought that I was just going to have to find, more driving related jobs my whole life, and that's all I could do. Thankfully, I got myself a coach, and my coach, basically broke that limiting belief. And, one of the things that they said was, have you ever thought about being a coach yourself? And,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, no, because you're my first coach. I didn't know what this was until now, and now that's what I do. And I went from being a life coach to now I'm a business coach, and I help people with their podcasts. I help people with automations and all that stuff. And it's like, I never would have thought of that, 3 or 4 years ago. Like would never thought I'd be on the path that I'm on now. And it's incredible. And it's all because I broke free from that.
Somebody just showed you the door, man. That was the
Yeah.
cool part, is that was always going to be who you could be. It was
Mm-hmm.
always on the table for you. It was always an option. But somebody had to move move the flowers in the middle of the table. Like they had to go, oh, look,
Yep.
Nick, it's right there. And you're like, oh, okay, yeah, I can do that. As simple as that sounds, guys, it's incredibly simple. It's hard. I want to be
Really
clear
hard.
on that. It is hard. It is not an easy task, but it is simple. It is absolutely simple. There's I don't know if you follow him, Nick. There's a gentleman called Dr. Elko, if you've ever followed him, and he talks about choose your heart. And I
Oh,
use this a lot. It's a really powerful book. If you get an opportunity, I'm an Audible guy. When it comes
me
to
too.
personal development books, I listen to Audible. When it comes to recreational books, I read those. Like I like the old paper books of old books, and I like to read
Yeah.
those. But I like PD on. I like all my personal development on Audible, partly because I can speed it up and
Same.
I can crash through it faster. So I'm going to own that.
Yep.
But Dr. Elko talks about choose your heart. So I'll give you the
Mm-hmm.
examples of it. It is hard to be sick. It is hard to be healthy. Choose your heart. It is hard to be broke. It is hard to be wealthy. Choose your heart. And it is such a freeing concept, because it's equally as hard to be successful as it is not to be. It
Mm-hmm.
is plain and simple. And you just have to choose which one They're equally hard. Pick
Yep.
which one you want, which one that you truly desire. I mean, if you choose to be unhealthy and you choose to be broke, it's your choice. It's your choice. And yeah, I know we're going to get calls on that. Like that, plain and simple. We're going to, and the reality is, but it's true.
It
As
is.
simple as it is, and as painful as it is for some of us to understand that, and believe me, I've been there. I have been broke. I have been unhealthy. I have been unsuccessful. All of the things. I have been grumpy and lived in that space. Being grumpy is hard and it's no fun. It is just as hard to try and be happy all the time. It's a lot more fun. You got to
It
choose your
is.
heart, guys. So yeah,
And I'm guessing that my mentor, Rob Dial, follows him. What was his name that wrote that book?
Dr. Elko, ELKO.
Dr. Elko. Because I've heard that from my mentor, and I don't know if this came from the book also, but my mentor, Rob, says life can either be hard now and easy later, or easy now and hard later.
Hard later.
Most
Mm-hmm.
of us choose to have easy now, hard later. Because if you choose the easy now, guess what? When you're older, you're gonna have to work more. You're not gonna be able to retire when you thought, and it really, it takes to affect your health. If you take care of your health now, it's gonna be way easier in the future. You're gonna, be sick less, all that. So yeah, I live up by that. It's like I'm gonna choose the hard now so my life is easier later.
Mm-hmm. And that's good on you for that, man, because that's such an important concept, and that this you can take that concept and you can apply it to health, you can apply it to your wealth, you can apply it to your business, every single piece. I mean, if you're we'll take business for example. You're a coach, I'm a coach, and the reality is coaching is what we do, but both of us are in sales. Comes right down to it. Both of us are in sales because we have to have conversations with people such that they're going to say, you know what, Nick, I want to hire you to be my coach because you're so incredibly inspiring.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why the podcast, that's why I have a TV show and a podcast. That's why you do all of the things that are in sales. And sales is hard. Sales is
Very hard.
hard, plain and simple. You
Mm-hmm.
got to work in order to do that piece. I'm not downplaying it all. And you can choose to make it really simple. You can choose to make it really easy, but that's going to make it harder later. Because if you're just going,
Yep.
well, I'm doing my podcast for free, I just want to get my message out, or I'm going to write this book for free, I just want to get my message out, you're lying to yourself. I'm straight
Mm-hmm.
up going to say it, man, because that's what the reality is. You're too much of a chicken to ask for the business. That's
Yep.
where it is right now. It's hard to ask for the business. It's hard to ask for the
It's
business.
really
It takes
hard.
practice. It takes work. It takes effort. And to Nick's point, it takes mentors. It takes role models. Nick has
Mm-hmm.
multiple coaches, as do I, that we have hired for specific aspects in our universe because we need the accountability. We need the push. We need the kick in the butt. We need that one little extra thing because, I'm really good at sales. I'm not going to lie. I'm really good at sales. Doesn't mean I don't want to do it. Plain and simple. Like I
Mm-hmm.
will get up in the morning and if I have to make sales calls or I have to create stuff or I'm asking for the business, it is difficult. Years and years and years and years later, it is still hard for me to do. And we have to do it. We have to do the hard things now so that it's easier later. That's
Yep, we do.
100% right, man. I agree with you completely.
Oh, yeah. And speaking of sales and business, what is your business called?
So our current business, and you can kind of see in the background, Total Disruption is our brand that we work with, and I've rolled through a few different brands and a few different businesses over the years. So Total
Mm-hmm.
Disruption is the brand that we work with now, and we're a high level visibility coaching company. Comes right down to it, and there are a lot of businesses out there. And I'll give you the short story about how we got here. Every single client that I have ever had in every business aspect that I coach, and my partner as well, and Then we started doing more research to find out, and we looked for what are the top 3 problems every business has that is in line. Whether it doesn't matter whether it's a generation, because we started to hear, well, it's different for millennials, or it's different for Gen Xers, or it's different, or it's different. It's not. All of the generational gaps, all different industries. We compiled the list. There are 3 common problems every single business owner has. All of them. And this is, again, we're going to get calls and somebody's just going to say, no, that's not my problem. They're totally going to do it, but it's all right. So the 3 common problems are, I don't have enough money. I don't have enough capital. That is a complaint. Another one is I don't have enough resources to do what I want to do. Number 3 is I don't have a big enough audience and they don't convert. It's actually 2 things, but it's one thing. The reality is all of those are actually only one thing. It is a lack of visibility. It is you are an invisible business owner. You are the best kept secret in your industry. You do not have enough people, clients, customers, consumers that are seeing you on a daily basis. So a lot of people look at it. So you've been running, what episode are you on? You've got a lot of episodes out in your podcast, right, Nick?
Yeah, you are episode 164-ish, somewhere around there.
Congratulations, man. That's hard in itself. Like the what is it? It's a huge number. It's like 90% of podcasts will never have more than 20 episodes. Yep. And like 95% of them never get to 50. Just huge numbers of people that start. So like amazing, awesome, super cool that you're way over 150. You're well on your way. Here's the thing, like where Nick decided a long time ago to do 160 some podcasts, and he's going to keep going with this to create visibility over time.
That was only 9 months ago.
Still, it's still a lot of work. A lot of people
only
don't want
9 months.
Yeah, a lot of people are like, I don't want to work for 9 months before I get there. So that's where what we built in this visibility piece with Total Disruption is we have 2 TV shows that we can put you on. We have conferences that we put them on. We put them on our podcast. We put them in our magazine, and we coach them. And this is, from a different perspective. Like I said, I'm a mindset. I'm a visionary coach. And Mike is also a visionary and language coach. We have within our TV show Battleground, we have a financial coach. We have an organizational model coach. We have a marketing coach that her job is literally Instagram. She's amazing. We have a branding coach. And here's where I'll tell you about this one. And this is why I said earlier, Nick's got multiple coaches and I have multiple coaches in my life. I know I'm not the guru that knows all things in every space. I know I'm not that guy. So I have to surround myself with people that are experts in those fields. I can coach on every one of those subjects. It's true. Am I the best coach in all of those subjects? No. And that's true, and that's okay. So that's where you have to surround yourself with the people that are going to elevate you. So when we're talking mentors and role models, Nick hired a coach, and that coach showed Nick that he too can be an amazing coach and he can do this. So he surrounded himself with people that are bigger thinkers. So that's a huge piece too, is surround yourself. Jim Rohn, I'll use this quote. He's one of my favorite quotes. I overuse it to death. You are a product of the 5 people you spend the most time around. And that is...
I live by that.
Oh, universal. And it's so critical. And the examples I've heard him say, and I'll share that with you, like, if you spend time around 5 millionaires, you will be the 6th. If you spend time around 5 marathon runners, prepare to run 26 miles because that's how that's going to go. You're hanging out with them, you're going to go run. If you hang out with 5 drug dealers, well, you might get to being a millionaire, but you got there a weird way. Like that is just how that's got to go. And that's the example. You are the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time around. So watch who you're spending time with.
Yeah, that's so important. And that's like the biggest thing that I've changed in my life is who I spend my time with. And I will say I had to, get a little lonely, but it's like, let's go back to life is hard now. and so it can be easier later. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's so important. So
Yeah.
how can people reach out to you?
Easiest way to find us is straight through our website. It's total-disruption.com. TOTAL dash disruption, DISRUPTION.com. So total-disruption.com. There's contact forms on there. You can find me on LinkedIn. You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on Instagram. Find us on YouTube. Watch the show. Like, subscribe, do the thing. You can find our podcasts on anywhere you can find podcasts. We're everywhere. It's all Total Disruption. We've stayed clear in the brand, which is incredibly critical. And that's the best way to reach out and find us. And for everybody that wants to reach out and say, "Hey, we saw you on the Toolbox for Success Guy show, heard you on the podcast. I'll give you one of our free somethings. We got lots of cool free stuff for your business and mindset." That by all means, like, I don't want to box everybody in and say we're going to give you the visibility thing, but if you want a visibility booster kit, you want a marketing booster kit, you want we have one that's called Ink Your Empire, which is how to write your book, how to get on the bestseller list, all those things. And we followed that with our more recent book. And there's an example of Total Disruption for you. That's how you spell it. That book, we were number one bestseller list within 24 hours of release in 3 different categories. And there's a process to do it. So if you want to know how to do that, and I will tell you this too, a lot of people are like, "Oh my God, writing a book is so much work, and I just don't know that anybody wants to hear my message." Man, you're limiting belief in yourself again. You have everybody on your show, everybody that listens to Nick has a message. Nick has a message, and that's the reason you listen to him. Every one of you have a message, and you are denying somebody else the opportunity at greatness by not sharing your message. Like, don't cheat somebody by not sharing your message. And there's always a way to do it, whether it's podcasting, TV show, book, magazine articles, editorials. Share, man. Share your message. It's so important.
Yeah, I agree with that. I love sharing my message because I see how it helps people. And like a lot of times, it's I'll tell a little short story on like a Facebook reel. I won't think it's anything important, but somebody else takes something really valuable away from that. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So my slogan is "Your abilities are infinite." What does that mean to you?
I think it goes right back to what we were talking about. And if we go back to that NLP piece of, a presupposition of NLP, and it's what I believe. So to define that is every single person has every resource available to them that they want, that they have access to. And when Nick says that they're imprinted on you, so there's a parental impression there a little bit. You think about horses, right? We talk about imprinting on horses, and that's how they get how to get a great attitude as a colt. The same is true as children, and the same is true as adults. You just have to be pliable in that. If you don't like what's going on in your life right now, look around you at who you're spending time with, and because that's imprinting on you. That's imprinting on you. So whether they're, if you're around a whole bunch of grumpy people and you're grumpy all the time, that's because that is imprinted on you. So change. Like it's up to you to change your surroundings. Imprint what you want. If your intention is to, hey, I want to run and finish a marathon and qualify for a bigger, meaner marathon, then go get around some amazing people that support you and will imprint on you what it takes to go run that marathon.
I love the answer. Thank you so much. Well, Jake, this was really great. Thank you for being on the show.
Absolutely, man. I'm grateful for the time, and I'm so inspired by what you do, Nick. Just keep doing what you do, because it is like. And here's another thing I'll share with your audience: when you're inspired by somebody and they made an impact on you, tell them. Like there are days that we need the pick me up just as much as anybody else does.
That's for sure. That's for sure. All right. Thank you.
Awesome, Nick. Take care, buddy.
If you enjoyed this show, please go ahead and share it on your Instagram story and tag me in the Nick Yerhart. Also, go ahead and share it anywhere else that you see fit, because the only way that I can grow this is by you guys sharing it. I don't sell anything on here. I don't have any sponsors, so let's just get it out there by word of mouth and help more people. Alright, everyone, remember, your abilities are infinite.